friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to go over 52 things that you probably didn't know about Jacksonville. Stick around if you are curious about this topic. Hey, thanks so much for sticking around, friends. My name's Nicole Smith. I'm a realtor here in the Metro Jacksonville area, and I came across this fascinating article, and I'm going to give the author some credit. His name is Eric Morman, and he wrote it in the Movado.com article. So what I want to share with you is 52 items that you may or may not know about Jacksonville, Florida. And I found this quite interesting because I didn't know quite a few of them. So stick around and let's get to it. I've been living in Jacksonville for over 10 years, and I did quite a bit of research about Jacksonville before we decided to make our move. So I'm going to break this video up into two parts because I don't want to go too long with it. But I wanted to share these fascinating insights that I didn't know. So let's get started. Number one thing on this list is Jacksonville is the city where the blues was first officially performed in a small part of town called La Villa. Now, La Villa currently is a community where they have a school of the arts for a middle school. And so it is still very, very strongly based in the theater area. And it happened on April 16, 1910, was the first coined phrase, the blues. So I found that quite interesting, considering I love that genre. Growing up, my parents always listened to the blues, and I was exposed to it, went to a lot of different blues groups, followed some blues bands all the way from Detroit to Chicago and into Toronto. Yeah, there were a lot of blues bands that we followed, and we went to blues festivals over in Windsor also. So it is something that I find quite interesting and actually didn't know. The number two interesting thing that I didn't know about Jacksonville is that today, the annual Springing the Blues Festival in Jacksonville Beach is the longest running and largest blues festival in the country. Well, I've been to that festival and I had no idea it was the longest running and one of the largest ones. I know it was large, but I did not know this information, and it's quite interesting. But we have a stage in Jacksonville Beach, literally feet away from the ocean, that this is where this event occurs. And they usually have a second stage set up on the grass. They have vendors there, they have food and beverages, and you can buy VIP tickets and sit down closer to the band, or you can bring your chair or your blanket and sit on the grass and listen to the blues music bands that are there to perform. And maybe if you're considering coming here and looking at houses and you love the blues, you may want to consider it doing a blues festival concert. Just a thought. You can get two things done at one time. So just a little thought, an idea. And if you are thinking about doing that, make sure you hit me up because I'd love to do that with you. The number three most interesting thing on this list is later down the road, a band called Limp Bizkit started here in Jacksonville in 1994. They're a new metal band and they were incredibly popular here, and then they made it big in the 90s. Now, that's something I did not know, but I'm not into new metal, so that's probably why. Now, the number four thing I did know, it's also where Southern rock was born, and the influential Southern rock band, the Allman Brothers, formed here in Jacksonville in 1909. Yes, I did know that. And the number five thing was Leonard Skinner did also in 1966. And they started out with the name of their band called the Pretty Ones, but they changed it to Lynyrd Skynyrd in 1969. So the number 6 thing on our list here today is the personal computer. Yes, this very thing that you may be watching this on was invented here in Jacksonville by a man named Don Estridge. He invented the personal computer. This is something I didn't know, but thank you, Don, for this invention. And number 7 is in the spooky amphibian news, the creature from the Black Lagoon was shot here in Jacksonville, Florida. That is something I didn't know, but find it quite interesting. I actually wonder where they shot that, because there are a few creepy places where that could have happened. I might have to investigate that further. Number 8, Jacksonville was Hollywood before there was a Hollywood. This is something I didn't know. Apparently, they were known as the winter film capital of the world in 1910. So fact number 9 that I didn't know is during that decade, well over 24 silent film studios opened in the city. It was a major film center before Hollywood even had a theater main player in the business. So that's quite interesting. Jacksonville has been on the map so many times, and it's very cool. The number 10 most interesting thing I didn't know about is one converted historic movie studio from that era. The Norman Studios is now the Jacksonville Silent Film Museum at the Norman Studios. Never been there, and I didn't know, but I'm going to have to add this to my list. The number 11 thing you probably don't know, but might find interesting, is Angelo Scarponi, known as the human corpse because he was seemingly unsinkable, died in Jacksonville, or he was able to explain his almost supernatural buoyancy. I didn't know that, but it's quite interesting. Number 12. In 1964, during the first American tour, the Beatles refused to play a little concert in Jacksonville until the audience was desegregated. Did not know this. That is very cool. They've always been political. I love it. I love that they would stick up for their rights there. Number 13. City of Jacksonville consolidated the entire county in 1968, giving it its considerable size. This is something I did know. So we are actually one of the most populous cities in the entire state of Florida, and per square mile, so by mass area, we are the largest in the continental U.S. as well. The number 14 interesting thing on my list is Jacksonville is on the banks of the St. Johns River. I knew this, which is the longest river in the state, which I knew. And it's one of the very few that flows from south to north. I did know that, but you probably didn't. So that is quite interesting. And of course, it is a freshwater river. And it divides the city up. So a lot of people, when they're requesting real estate, they'll indicate the St. Johns River, that they want to live east of it or west of it. So that is a fun fact for you as well. Now, Jacksonville was named after Andrew Jackson, and he's most famous as the 7th U.S. president, but he was also the first military governor of the Florida Territory. So that is something I did know. And number 16 on the list is Jacksonville was not called Jacksonville when this happened. It was called Halford because of the cattle herded across the St. Johns River in the area. So that was the original name of Jacksonville. Number 17, some of the oldest pottery remnants ever unearthed in the country were found in Jacksonville, and they were dating back to around 2500 BC. That is quite interesting, and I'm not sure if they have it here somewhere, but I think it would be neat to see it. Number 18, the city was also the site of some of the first European settlements in America, including the first French settlement in Fort Caroline, and that was founded in the summer of 1564. This is also very interesting, and I did read up on that after I moved here. I lived not too far from Fort Caroline, so I wanted to know what it was all about. Now, number 19. On May 3rd, 1901, Jacksonville became the site of the largest urban fire ever in the southeastern U.S. and one of the worst disasters in the state's history when the Great Fire of 1901 blazed. This is something I heard about but did not know a lot about. Number 20 on the list is the fires that started at the Cleveland Fiber Factory. Burned 146 blocks in 8 hours, destroyed almost 2,400 buildings, and left 10,000 people without homes. Now that is very devastating. So yeah, that's heartbreaking. Number 21 on the list is, though the biggest disaster, that fire wasn't the deadliest. In 1961, 22 people died in the Roosevelt fire, and that was a hotel fire, so that was quite deadly. And 22 on my list is Jacksonville is home to Florida's largest Filipino American community. And I haven't been to many of their events, but I have been to some of their restaurants, and they're very delicious. Number 23 on my list is also, it has the biggest deep water port in the southern U.S. and is the second biggest on the East Coast. So our port is quite large, and if you're ever in Jacksonville, you'll go over the Dames Point Bridge. You will see it's right there. And if you ever decide to take a cruise out of Jacksonville, it's right there in the port, and you'll go under the Dames Point Bridge, which is a beautiful bridge. Number 24 on my list is Jacksonville's Florida Theater. Was opened in 1927 and is one of only 4 remaining Florida high-style movie palaces built in the 20s during the state's boom of the Mediterranean revival architecture. So that is number 24. Now, number 25, Elvis Presley performed his first indoor concert at a headlining act at this theater in 1956. Hey, some of you Elvis fans, did you know that? If any of this information you know or had known or was a surprise, leave me a comment. I would love to know if you were aware of some of these items or they're new to you. Leave me a comment. I'd appreciate it. So number 26, and this is where I'm going to stop and then continue on for the next 26 items on the next video. So number 26 is, today the Florida Theater hosts about 200 cultural and entertainment events and draws 250,000 visitors annually. So this theater is very beautiful. I have been to an event there, and if you're ever in town and you're into the theater, you have to go check out a show at this theater. It's very, very nice. And I love culture, and I love the fact that Jacksonville is so diverse. With this information that I'm sharing with you, it must make you realize how unique, special, and diverse Jacksonville, Florida is. It is such a unique city. I always say it's a big city with a small town feel, and when they're sharing all this information with you and giving you culture and music and theater, you gotta love that. I love that, and I hope that that is something that's intriguing you as well. We're getting close to halfway, and like I said, I'm gonna break this video into 2 parts. So if you're finding it interesting, make sure you like and subscribe so you'll be notified when the next video hits. And you know, normally I don't talk about stuff like this. I talk about a lot of things and give you different tips and tricks on moving to Jacksonville, Florida, and I do a lot of neighborhood tours, and I actually, you know, go over a lot of the pros and cons on why you might want to consider Jacksonville, Florida to move here. Because I'm a realtor, I love to help people relocating here, and when I help you do that, it is so satisfying. So make sure you go down into the comment section. You'll see a link to my calendar. Set up a time to have a consultation with me so we can go over what your real estate goals are, and then we can move forward from there. I would love for you to be my neighbor. So make sure you message me today so we can see if we'll be a good fit. And I would love for you to work with me, and I hope that this video was useful to you. But if it wasn't, check out one of the other ones I did recently, because I've done quite a few interesting videos. So go look at my playlist and see if any of those might pique your interest. And until next time, my friends, make sure you're living your best life, because life is too short not to love where you're living. And I am living the dream here in Jacksonville, Florida. And I would love for you to be my neighbor. Bye for now, and I'll see you on part 2.